All right guys, today's episode we're going to be playing electrician. We have some new lighting upgrades for the shop. Hyperlite reached out and said, hey, your lighting doesn't look so great. Would you like to partner up with us? We'll give you some lights, you buy a couple lights and make a video on putting them in. So I said, sure, I love more lights. So what we got here are some, they're almost 4 feet long by, well, let's measure one. Yeah, it's 2 lights face to face. All right, so you can see we have 6 strips of LEDs and they have this plastic diffuser on them to help spread the light out. They're a little over 47 inches by 13.5 inches. They look to be a well-made light. It weighs a fair bit. One thing I really like about them is that they're universal voltage, meaning they'll work from 120 volt up to 277 volts. So if you wanted to replace, say, our high bays, which are getting 240 single phase, these will wire right in place. It doesn't matter, they'll run on that voltage as well. So when we built this shop 10 years ago, we got a good deal on these glass-cased Mercury halide style lights. They were used, but my dad really liked them and they're definitely cool lights. So some of them we've converted to LED. We need to convert more to LED, but all in all, we just need a little more light in here. So the way this shop is wired and laid out, we have these 4 fluorescent setups at each corner, and those are about worthless. But the idea was, and it's funny how fast things change because this was only 10 years ago, but you walk in the door, there's a switch by the door, flip that on, walk over to the breaker panel and hit the breakers for the big lights, but they're each on a 20 amp 220 circuit. So the 110 that goes to the fluorescence is good because these will run on anything from 120 to 277 volts. So I'm going to replace these 4 fluorescent fixtures with 4 of these. And then I want to run at least one stretch right down the middle of the shop. The reason we don't have any of the hanging lights in the middle is because they're actually lower than 13.6. So if you want to bring a full height 13.6 trailer in, those lights couldn't be there. So with these LED lights being shorter, I'm going to put one right above where the door would cover it if the door was up. Normally we keep the door shut at night because so many bugs will come in anyway. And basically just run one row down the center of the shop, try to fix some of our darkness that's over there. Basically, all these shadows are sort of what you're seeing here. When you're in working on something, it's just not as bright as it could be, especially when they're in tight like this. So my idea is I would like to keep the lights back close to the wall, basically to illuminate out. I was thinking about going right down the center, but my concern then is you're going to basically create a shadow off of this vehicle. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. If you're looking at something shorter, like say the back of this truck we're working on right now, then it doesn't matter if it's right in the middle. Another thought is maybe we'll put 2, like here, and kind of split this center bay, and another one there and opposite it. So I'd like to get these corners hung up, see how bright these lights are, what we're working with, and we'll go from there. Brought the mighty snorkel back in that we resurrected in a video last year. This is my very precise lockout tagout. That'll shut off the fluorescent lights and we still have the other high bays in here while we're working. So let's at least take a ride up. Let's take a Phillips screwdriver. I don't know how these are attached. I brought some SO cord and some cord grips and some eye bolts to hang these new lights. Let's take a ride up here in the lift and see what we're looking at. Like how nimble this little lift is. Onward! I think this pops off. Clean the bugs out while we're at it. Ewy. Could just convert these to LED bulbs too, I think would be another option. Yeah. A couple screws under there. Probably gonna have to get up here in the rafters and see what we have going on, because I just don't remember how we did it. My dad and I wired this whole building when we put it up. That side's free. Just a couple cobwebs. I'd say it's at least a T. We could pull the cover off that T and make a junction inside there. I guess let's go up and see what we got. So to compare what we're going to put up, the new light from Hyperlite, we have 6 LED strips. Each one has this diffuser in it. To mount these, they give you these hangers. So I'm going to put 2 hooks screwed into the rafters to get 4 feet apart at the spacing of the trusses. They're going to kick out a little bit like that. I think that'll work out pretty well. They also offer a bracket that clamps on here, spaces it down about that far, but I didn't get that, and I don't think we really need it. I think this will work out all right. Thought it was funny how they include this level in the light to help you get it level, but in our case it's going to hang this way, and we can't do much about this way other than screw one eye bolt in further than the other. As far as wiring, they give push to connect ends, and you can put a cord grip or conduit or seal tight into these knockouts here. I think I'm just going to put a cord grip and some SO. So our access to the attic is over here on the cold side, and I don't really have a super easy way of running the man lift back and forth while we do this, so I'm going to try to get the ladder up through the hole so we can have an easy way to get up there. I think we'll probably just use the trailer to help us, use a shorter ladder. Well, at least it can't fall over. Perfect. Got our trusty Milwaukee light. Let's go it up. Alrighty, so we're working over in that corner back there. You see, this is the conduit that's run. That main trunk over there runs down all those lights. That bigger piece there is what's feeding the busway. We used to have a 3-phase generator and some machine tools here before we had our new shop for work, and it all moved out there. That conduit, I think, is one of the ones intended for a fan we never put up. Might be an easy place to put a light. So that's the main runs coming out of the panel. Come up and across the other side of the shop, and then run down the length for all the lights, and then ultimately power the lights in the cold side as well. And this is why I could say I would not recommend running PVC conduit in a place that gets as hot as the attic, because it expands and contracts too much. Should have been EMT. But that's where our light is we're dealing with. We're basically looking at the bottom of that sweep. So if I pull the cover off that T, we should have an easy place to junction. If I can push that SO cord the whole way up, we'll junction it inside there. All right, so now we have somewhat of a game plan of what we're doing. I do want to hang the light and wire it up to see how it looks, then we'll hash out the final wiring. I'm thinking a female adapter for a cord grip is the easiest way in here. Let's get her hung up and powered up. All right, so a 1/2 inch knockout. So a 1/2 inch cord grip hopefully fits in these. Looks like it will. So I'm gonna put a 1/2 inch cord grip just sticking right up out of the light. We'll run our SO. It's gonna have to come backwards a little bit the way we're set up with where that conduit is, and hook up about here. Plus it had the extra length of conduit you saw up in the attic. So our SO probably has to do about one of those numbers. We'll give it 4 feet of length so we have plenty. Get it pre-wired on this end. We can go up, throw it on with some wire nuts just to test, see what we have, and then we'll tape it off to those wires, pull it through, go up in the attic and wire it in permanently. Yep, that's a 1/2 inch NPT style cord grip with a lock nut. Thread that right on there. Our SO is going to feed through that. Tighten the cord grip down. That gives that a nice strain relief. We'll strip this back, and these just push in. My only concern here with these push-in connectors is it's kind of like a one-shot. I don't know if you can take it back off. There's a slot here. I was trying to stick a little screwdriver in, see if I could remove them. I'm not sure you can. So once you're in there, you're in for good. I had a power cord here. I wanted to wire it up just to plug it in and see what it looked like, but then I figured I'm going to have an extra wire in there that I don't want, so I opted not to do that. Oh, I can't find my Greenlee tool for stripping this outer jacket, so we'll make do with these. I also wasn't sure how well these were going to like stranded wire. I feel like these are more of a solid core wire kind of thing. Seems all right. Alrighty, that's in there. So at this point we can close this up. Not walking all the way to the toolbox for a screwdriver. So the ceiling height is going to be about here. We have that piece of SO about in line with this rafter. Plus we need to come up and in. And we'll give ourselves a little extra, so we'll cut it out here. I'm going to strip this back, we'll wire nut it onto what's there, and we can see how she looks. So to mount this to the ceiling, I picked up some of these eye bolts. We're going to screw these in, and then this bracket, I'm hoping I can just sort of feed through there, bring it down, and then this will hook onto the light. And we have one of these on each end. We'll just do it on the 4-foot center that the trusses are on. Onward! So this is just a 3/16 drill bit per the eye bolts box. don't need the hammer drill. You might need a bigger drill bit to help punch the tin out of the way. I feel a 1/2 inch impact is definitely the tool for this job. There we go. Like I said, I'm just going to temporarily wire this up for the time being so we can see what it looks like. Then we'll tape this off, get back in the attic, and pull the SO through. Let's go hit the switch. Moment of truth. Holy cow. That's a serious light. That's awesome. Well, Yogi's upset because they're not going to be able to sleep on the couch anymore. You can see the shadow it has created behind the Bay City engine with that light right there. That's how much brighter the Hyperlite LED is. I'm impressed. So we're going to put that one, that corner, and then I haven't 100% decided how we're going to run down the center. Maybe we'll put one at the very back over the center of the Ford right now and see what that does for us while we're working on those axles. Because I'm going to have to grab power off that conduit. I need to do a little looking up there in the attic of how I'm going to run that. All right, so we have that one up, temporarily wired. I'm going to get the light mounted in that corner and the other two corners, and we'll get it all pre-wired and ready to pull the SO up to the attic. Next one. Look out. I'm cutting that connector off so I can tape this SO onto the existing wire, and we'll pull it through with this hot wire from up in the attic. How low does it hang below the top? So we can clear the door. Oh yeah. We got clearance. Raise it down. Alrighty then. Yep, that was our issue down here on this light. We got a little stuck, but that's no problem. That's all it needed. So we're armed with some Buchanan crimps now. Let's get these 4 corner lights finished up. Cut off that excess. Strip them back as well. And these are called Buchanan connectors. There's basically an inner sleeve and then a plastic insulator. So these are a little bit more industrial than a wire nut. Just put it on there like that. These special crimps. Crimp it. You don't want to get too close to that neck or else the insulator won't stay on. Like that. Let me just snap this guy on there. It's locked on for good. We'll connect our neutral and ground the same way. Alrighty, good to go. Ta-da! 3 more. Not all the shop jobs are fun. Halfway. At least when we're doing the middle lights, we'll be able to not be bent over in the corner. Prepare to be dazzled. Oh, buddy. That's impressive. Just those 4 lights make a big difference. I think that corner back there by the lathe and the drill press is going to benefit a lot. Oh yeah, it's way better. Way, way better than it was. Whole fab area's brightened up a bunch. What do you think, Yogi? I like it. I like it. Let's get some more. We turn the big lights off. Man, it's pretty bright just with those 4 LEDs out in the very corners. And totally silent. Wow, I can't believe how much light there is just from those 4. Next step, we need to start running some conduit for the lights we're going to put up in the center. This is a 3/4 EMT bender that's 1/2 inch EMT, so hopefully it doesn't kink it. Don't have a 1/2 inch EMT, unfortunately. Gonna have to just put a little offset basically to come out of a junction box over on that side, come out, down, run along the truss out to the center. It's raining right now, so it is pretty loud up there. So we're gonna do our talking and filming down here. Show you what we got going on up there in short bursts. Need a little help getting this thing raised up here. Odie, watch out. So we're very scientifically doing a random offset. I needed like 8 inches, and that looks pretty parallel. That's about 5. So we'll just increase each of those bends a little bit. Take that up until we're close to 8. Looks like the 3/4 bender's doing okay. All right, that's a good enough start. We'll bend her around up there if need be. I can only imagine what some of the real electricians are going to be saying about me down in the comments.
I have light gray, medium gray, dark gray. And I forgot. My bad, I'm colorblind. You what?
Realizing how we need everything up top, so I might as well get everything up top. And one more trip, because I got to bring you guys. Come along with me. All right, our first stick is hooked up to the junction box over there. Then take our next stick and slide it underneath these runners and join it together with a little coupler dealio. So in these boxes, you can use different knockouts depending on what you're doing. We're just gonna be using these 1/2 inch conduit adapters. So I'm thinking of coming out of the side like that, and then the straight run, we'll just run right through the middle of the boxes, this whole length. And then wherever we put a light, we'll put it in the bottom. Where that conduit's tying in doesn't match a light, so we'll just put a connector in the side of the box. That'll allow us to screw through these holes right into the top of that truss to support this, and then we'll run long ways out to the other lights. So just to give ourselves a little bit more area to screw into, we'll plan on putting those screws here into the truss, which would make this our entrance. And the last one of our runner here. So the reason that we're running EMT this time is because we learned that PVC in attics is a very bad idea. The expansion and contraction of the extreme heat and cold in this area does not go well with the PVC conduit, and it's broken out some of the junction boxes we've had to deal with. So use metal, use EMT or rigid. That's our advice after making the wrong call in this kind of scenario. I assume you can use PVC if you put expansion joints or 90-degree elbow little sweeps, kind of like the Alaskan pipeline, and deal with expansion and contraction that way. I don't think with metal conduit in 110 foot of length that we really have a problem. Just gonna mark out a 7-inch piece. A little welding fab area here is so much brighter. Just that one new light up there. I can't wait to get all of them in. Sometimes you need to get something installed to motivate you to install the rest. You know what I mean? Whoopsies. And these cutters have this handy dandy deburr in the back. All right, so this is each of the little boxes that's gonna drop down to the lights. This is just gonna be enough to get past the bottom of the truss. I don't know if we're gonna need to put a little clamp holding this to the truss or if the screw we put here will be enough. We'll drill a hole in the tin. This will poke through that hole and then screw to the top of the truss, and then this conduit will run to the next light each way. Try not to step through the ceiling here. All right, so that's all of the conduit run and the box is screwed down. We still need to run back along that, and I got some one-hole straps. I'm gonna clamp it at each truss in between the boxes. That'll get that held tight. We just have this little piece of conduit which needs a little offset bent where we run over from our feeder to come up into that junction box right there. Let's get it bent up, and that will be all the conduit. Well, that's a wrap on our conduit. Doesn't even look too drunken sailory. Let's see what it looks like from below, and we're ready to start pulling wire. All right, you can see a little stub. That'll be that light. And then that stub. That one and that one. And we didn't even jump over a row. That was my main concern. It seemed to work out. So we'll have a light right there between the second and third truss. And then you skip 3 gaps between trusses and then a light, and 3 gaps and then a light, and 3 gaps in the last light, and that'll be our 4 center lights there. I think that's gonna work out well. You ready to start going and pulling some wire, Odie? How's your ladder climbing skills, huh? I don't know if you're gonna be able to pull it off. We recharged our portable light plant battery here, also known as a small car battery. And we're gonna go back up, pull some wire, and see if we can get everything kind of laid out. We're gonna pull the stranded wire in all the conduit and be ready to take the 18 gauge SO up. So we're more or less gonna rough this in. I'm not gonna terminate at each box because we're gonna need the SO up to do that anyhow, so there's no point in doing it twice. So I'm gonna try to get everything pulled from our junction box over on this side of the shop out to the middle, and then each run in between there, we'll get them pulled, and then we'll be ready to pre-wire our fixtures here on the ground, go up on the lift, stick them up, push the SO through, and mount them. That's the plan anyhow. So it's hardly warm out today. It's 58, maybe 60 degrees, and it's already gotten pretty warm up here, even as windy as it is, so I'm surprised by that. Shows you the temperature extremes the attic experiences. So I'm gonna start with trying to run the wire in our feeder line over here. So this one has an offset here on this side and an offset back there where we come back up and go into the box. So it's probably gonna be our most difficult pull. I totally forgot about needing to come up with a fish tape for pulling. Let me see what we can find. Let's see if we can get the fish tape fed through over to that junction box. Ooh, let's see. Alrighty, we got the 3 wires taped onto the fish here. Now we need to somehow get the wires to unspool while we pull this. I'm gonna go try to pull it. Let's see if it turns into a big old rat's nest. So I pulled a little hard and the fish tape pulled off of our taping to the wire. So we're stuck halfway down the pipe. Got a little more resistance than I would have liked at this end. Green's all tangled up. Sweet. So ultimately we're looking for it in that box. I'm thinking that this offset, the offset or the joint here could be where it's stuck, so I'm going to take that apart. And our hanger. Could be the other joint. We got further than that though. Feeding the neutral wire through, trying to play catch up with black and green. There it is. Gonna put our coupling back around them. And then we're gonna have to feed enough to make it to that box, which that looks like plenty. Feed it through here. The bottom. I think we really need a longer chunk of conduit. Can we keep them spooling together? That is the question. So my intention here is we tape these three together, push it through to the first box, then go to that box and push it to the next box, and so on and so forth. So the furthest we're ever pushing is only like 12 feet. So I don't see why this isn't doable. It's 12 feet of perfectly straight run. So we have one joint and the box adapter at the end. So as long as I'm thinking we stagger these, I'm gonna tape from the end, so hopefully there's nothing to get caught. Hopefully our jack stand pipe reel here does a better job than what we had going on over there. Also, this is one of our first warm days of April, and it is warming up here quick. So I'm basically just going to try to get this roughed in, and we'll be back down in the shop hanging lights. Don't get tangled. Hey, we made it. I guess we really don't have that far to go. Only pushing one more. See how there's a knot there? I'm going to take the whole spool. Brave, I know, I know. Bold move, Cotton. Nope, nope, there it is. Okay, that was the right call. So now I'm just gonna leave a loop, like we have extra coming out down there, so we can form that junction. I'm gonna leave a loop here. I'm gonna pull a little loop out of each of these boxes and just keep pulling it as we go back. More of our lights opened up here. Get them prepped for install and hanging. I saw they have a knockout kind of towards the end. I'm wondering if we can use that. It'd be a little cleaner than how I did the other ones from the center. I just don't know how you can even reach your hand down here to get the lock nut on. Come check it out. Okay, so there is a screw here and here, I guess, and there and there. Whole thing must come off, and we can use that knockout over here. Instructions are, who needs them? What are we stuck on? That's nice and convenient. So we'll just have to knock this out. All this is allowing us to do is run the SO basically in and down. There is a knockout on the very end too, but I think it'll look cleaner staying on top. So I'm going to put our same style cord grip over here in this side. And like I said, this isn't really saving any wire or anything because we still have to come back to our connections in here. While we're at it, I just wanted to show kind of how this was put together because we didn't see this on the first 4 lights. But there's these 2 different LED drivers, and these are what give it its basically wide open range 120 to 240 volt input. Must have something trapped. Let me pull this guy out. Just to give us a little bit to see what we're doing. Yep, a couple wires were trapped in there. So it's a little more work to take this whole back off to use the offset, but it's not bad. think it's definitely going to look cleaner in the long run. That this will just go up and just a hair over to where our conduit comes down from the attic. Well, while I was up there, sort of ran out of battery. That's why I was standing on the edge trying to get as much height as I could, but we got that last light hung up. I got the battery charger on each battery. Definitely need to upgrade our battery package on this unit. But while it's charging, I think I'm going to go up and wire up these two lights in the junction boxes up in the attic. Alright, so I made that connection. I'm hoping I can navigate the man lift over the Ford with some missing wheels in order to hang up these last two lights. All right, we're back up here on the top side. We're ready to hook up these last two lights. We also have our junction box over on the far side where we need to locate the correct wire that was feeding the old fluorescent lights. These 8 lights should be drawn right around 15 amps. We're on a 20 amp circuit, so we should be just jim dandy. So we got these 4 more total junctions to make. Let's get her done. This is where we push that SO cord up from the bottom. We have to join that. This is the last one above the rear end of the Ford. The farther box that's open is a light. The next box, short jog over, is our tie over to that side. And then this is, of course, the last light. So we'll just work our way down through here. Then we're gonna have to make that fun trip over to the corner and try to locate which wire is the correct wire. Move our working platform over here a little bit. I don't want any complaints about plumber's crack. Going for the best viewer experience possible, really. I am going to tie the ground to the system of conduit. We might as well do it here. That way all this EMT is grounded properly, since it's hooked to PVC conduit. Alrighty, that wraps up all of our connections. Hopefully, I hit the right wire over in that junction box. I'm 95% sure I did. Whew, I'm excited to see how she looks. Let's get down there and check it out. Time for the moment of truth. Oh, buddy. Wow. That definitely lit up the center. What a major difference. Sweet. Take you a little walk back here, but especially like where we're working on these hubs. This area was not good. And it is very good now. I'm curious how we kind of feel about the shadows and things like that as time goes on. It really doesn't seem bad. I think I'm gonna upgrade that high bay to a brighter LED. I used to think I loved red, but anymore I think I really love orange. Snorkel and Yoda, they always seem to work. Thank you guys for tagging along on this one. Big thanks to Hyperlite for giving us some of these lights. It has really brightened the operation up in here. I think that'll help with filming going forward. Anyhow, I'm Sam with Scrappy Industries. Thanks for watching.